Right now, you are holding a device that connects you to the entire world. The screen glows brightly. A single notification alters the exact path of your morning commute by warning you about a minor traffic delay. You turn left instead of right. Did you actually make that choice? You believe your mind belongs entirely to you. Your preferences feel deeply personal. Every book you purchase, every article you share, and every political opinion you hold feels like a product of your independent logic. But the hidden system governing your perception is far stranger than you imagine. What if your reality is being actively sculpted by an invisible hand? You might think of espionage as an old movie. You picture a lone operative sneaking through a dark alleyway. You imagine stolen microfilms, poison-tipped umbrellas, and high-speed car chases through European capitals. But modern intelligence agencies abandoned that archaic model decades ago. Why risk a human life when you can compromise an entire population from a desk? The modern intelligence apparatus operates like a silent operating system running in the background of global civilization. It does not seek to break laws. Instead, it seeks to rewrite the very rules of the environment in which you live, think, and make decisions every single day. This is the hidden system of perception management. How do you fight an enemy you cannot even see? To understand how this mechanism functions, you must examine the work of Dr. Christopher Andrew. He is a leading historian of intelligence systems at Cambridge University. His extensive research reveals that the most successful intelligence operations in history were never about stealing secrets. They were about planting ideas. Have you ever stopped to consider where your deepest beliefs originate? When an agency like MI6 or the CIA targets an adversary, they do not launch missiles. They map out a network. They identify the exact nodes of information that a leader, a general, or a citizen relies upon to understand the world. Then, they subtly alter those nodes. Would you trust your eyes if the sky turned green tomorrow? Consider a classic historical example of systemic manipulation. During the mid-20th century, the British Secret Intelligence Service established a highly covert department. Its sole purpose was to inject specific narratives into foreign newspapers without leaving a single trace of British origin. They created fake news agencies, funded independent journalists, and distributed highly targeted pamphlets across multiple continents. The system worked perfectly. How could the public resist a truth that came from their own trusted neighbors? This historical blueprint evolved exponentially with the birth of the internet. The physical printing presses disappeared. They were replaced by fiber-optic cables, server farms, and complex data distribution algorithms that span the entire globe. Intelligence agencies realized that the internet was the ultimate playground for systemic control. Are you truly in control of your digital footprint? Professor Richard Aldrich, a renowned expert on cyber-espionage, has documented this profound transition. His research shows that modern intelligence operations have moved directly into the core infrastructure of global communications. Agencies no longer just intercept the messages you send to your friends. They monitor the global flow of data to understand the psychological state of entire nations. What happens when your vulnerabilities are cataloged by a foreign superpower? Imagine a vast digital matrix analyzing your behavioral patterns. The system tracks your late-night searches. It notes the exact articles that trigger your anger, your fear, or your sense of political outrage. By aggregating this data across millions of individuals, the system builds a highly accurate psychological map of a population. It knows your breaking point before you do. Once the system understands a nation's psychological fractures, the manipulation begins. The process is entirely automated. Bots and algorithmic amplifiers begin pushing specific content to the top of your social media feeds. You see a sudden influx of stories about economic instability, social unrest, or institutional corruption. You feel a rising tide of anxiety. Is it an organic cultural shift, or is it an engineered panic? This is what specialists call an information operation. It is completely non-violent. Yet, it possesses the raw power to destabilize a government, crash a stock market, or alter the outcome of a national election. The weapon is not a bullet. The weapon is the thought inside your head. Every email you send travels through an undersea infrastructure. Vast networks of submarine cables lie quietly on the dark ocean floor, carrying 99% of the world's transcontinental data. Intelligence agencies map these underwater arteries with absolute precision. Did you know that these cables can be tapped without interrupting a single transmission? Specialized submarines can attach non-intrusive interceptors directly to the glass fibers deep underwater. The data flows silently into massive processing facilities located in remote deserts. Supercomputers sort through petabytes of information every second, hunting for specific voice patterns, encrypted code phrases, or systemic anomalies. This is the physical reality of the global panopticon. Who watches the architects of the matrix? Modern societies rely on digital infrastructure for basic survival. Your water treatment plants, electrical grids, and banking networks are all connected to the same global web. By finding hidden flaws in these industrial control systems, cyber units can paralyze a nation without firing a single shot. Have you ever experienced a sudden blackout and wondered about its true origin? Consider the famous case of the Stuxnet worm discovered in the early 21st century. It was a highly sophisticated piece of malicious software designed by a joint intelligence operation. Instead of stealing data, it silently altered the rotational speed of industrial centrifuges inside a secure nuclear facility. The machines tore themselves apart while the monitoring screens showed everything was operating perfectly. How can you fix a machine that lies to your face? This technique is known as social engineering. It is the art of hacking humans instead of computers. Intelligence operatives study behavioral psychology to exploit basic human instincts like greed, fear, or the desire to be helpful. They construct elaborate digital personas to build trust with high-value targets over months or even years. Are your online friends actually who they claim to be? Dr. Locke Johnson, a distinguished scholar of intelligence studies, has categorized these covert actions into distinct systemic phases. The first phase is always stabilization or destabilization depending on the geopolitical goal. If an agency wants to weaken a foreign rival, they do not sabotage factories. They amplify domestic conspiracy theories until the citizens lose all faith in their own courts, media, and leaders. The nation collapses from within. The second phase involves the creation of synthetic realities. An intelligence agency can invent a completely fictional corporate entity, human rights group, or political movement. They give this entity a flawless digital history complete with websites, tax records, and thousands of simulated followers. To an outside observer, the organization looks completely legitimate. How do you verify a shadow? You are living in the middle of this silent warfare every single day. The battlefield is your screen. Every time you scroll through a video feed, click on a trending hashtag, or engage in an online argument, you interact with this system. The system does not want to change your mind by force. It wants you to arrive at their conclusion voluntarily. This is the ultimate realization of modern espionage. It is an invisible cage. The bars are made of information, and the lock is forged from your own emotional reactions to the content you consume. You walk around feeling entirely free, but your path has been completely mapped out in advance. The system relies on your absolute compliance to survive. It thrives in the dark. As long as you remain unaware of the invisible matrix shaping your perception, the manipulation remains perfectly effective. But once you understand the modus operandi, the spell begins to break. Are you ready to see the code behind the curtain? Tonight, when you look at your phone, remember the invisible architecture. The screen will glow brightly. A single notification will attempt to alter the exact path of your thoughts by warning you about a curated global crisis. You will make a choice.